Hi, everyone. This is David D'Arcangelo at CTFO. I'm your Chief Marketing Officer, and I have on the webinar today Dr. Stephen Trobiani, and I just want to give you a little bit background. We're talking about Celluvie today. Dr. Trobiani and his wife Janine had an amazing first experience. We're going to go back to that experience and then take it forward. And really specifically, Dr. Trobiani has some information he wants you to know so you get the biggest benefit from this Celluvie product. So let me just back up on Dr. Trobiani is a Yale-trained, board-certified neurologist who has spent the past 31 years evaluating and managing headache and back pain. You know, if I drop down a little bit here, Dr. Trobiani has been in practice in Maple Grove in the Minneapolis area for over 21 years. His practice has an emphasis on, and these are critical, injuries to the cervical, thoracic, lumbar regions, and peripheral nerves. You can look up Dr. Trobiani at northstarpaincare.com and you'll find a great, description. Their goal is to identify and effectively resolve pain with the most comprehensive care possible. They're specialists. Dr. Trobiani is a specialist in the diagnosis and the treatment of pain originating from the peripheral nerves. For those of you who have any of these issues, spine and soft tissues. So we look for Dr. Trobiani for headache treatment, migraine care, back pain care, neck pain care, and much more. So welcome, Dr. Trobiani.
Thank you, David.
So
good to be here.
Yeah, so I'm going to start out with a bang here. There's a quote here from an article I read, University of Michigan study. I'm going to quote from. It says, at least 2/3 of your bad health or increased sickness and disease is related to low levels of one powerful molecule in your body. And you and I,
that's right.
I'm going to turn it over to you. That's glutathione. And if you can tell from your perspective, why do people absolutely positively need glutathione?
Glutathione facilitates the production of ATP. ATP is the energy currency for every cell in every organ in our body. Without ATP, it's like trying to drive a car without gas. It's not going to go anywhere. I don't care whether it's a old beat up Chevy or a new Maserati. The Maserati is not going to go any farther without gas than the old beat up Chevy will go. If you don't put fuel in the tank, it's dead. And the same is true with our bodies. If we don't put fuel in the tank, we die. We need ATP for cellular function, for organ function, and for the function of our body. Now, glutathione is one of the cofactors in the production of ATP. It peaks in our bodies at age 20, which correlates with peak athletic performance. And then it declines from that point forward. And it declines significantly. So by the time you're 40, you've lost 40% of your glutathione. By the time you're 70, you've lost 70% of your glutathione. And you can imagine what happens as we turn 80 and 90. So right. It's not surprising that many people don't live to 100, because if you're not creating enough glutathione or getting enough glutathione to produce ATP, your body's going to deteriorate.
Well, we produce Celluvie to help your body, to provide some of the cofactors so that it provides the nutrients that your cells need to produce more glutathione. And we have a very unique manufacturing process developed with a scientific team that dates back over 20 years and over 20 years of knowledge to produce that, which makes Celluvie one of a kind. You and your wife, Janine, had some interesting experiences. Can you talk about that when you first got exposed to Celluvie?
I will, but before I do, I want to point out that if you read the package, it'll tell you it's a whey protein. It is not just a whey protein. Yeah. It is a protein derived from milk. It is a whey protein, but it's a very, very specifically formulated whey protein. Not all whey proteins are easy to absorb. Some of them are hard on kidney. We know after 20 years of research with this There is no effect on the kidney. It is very easily absorbed. And because of the formulation, it allows your body to absorb the building blocks for glutathione, which are cysteine, glycine, and glutamine, and get those in proper proportions so that your cells can then manufacture glutathione. So then
That's a great point, because
yeah.
we get the question from now and then is like, why don't I just go buy some whey protein isolate? And we said, no, it's not that easy.
No, it won't be the same at all. So knowing what I know about both Celluvie and the need for glutathione in general, when you guys first made this available, I was anxious to get it. And as soon as we got it, I started taking 3 scoops a day, which is a loading dose for 10 days. And then the instructions were do 2 scoops a day for 10 days and then go to 1 scoop a day for maintenance. And I had just finished doing 3 scoops a day when the clubs opened up. And I was able to start running again, because I don't like to run outdoors. I don't like running on pavement. It's hard on the knees. The indoor tracks are built to absorb some shock and help protect the knees. And so I like running on the indoor tracks. So I don't damage my knees. So the clubs opened up. I went back in and I had run a mile. At the end of that mile, I was just dying. I hadn't run in a while. It had been 3 months since I'd run, and I needed to do some cardio. So I said, I'm going to do some sprints. I did 3 sprints, each a lap, and then said, okay, I'll call it a day and go home. Went back the next day, ran a mile, was dying just as bad as I did the day before, and said, I'll do more sprints. So on the first sprint, though, I had gotten 3/4 of the way around the track when I realized I had a lot more kick in my legs than I was used to. And so I wanted to see how fast I could get myself going. And I sped down the last quarter of that lap faster than I've ever run in my life.
Wow.
Unfortunately, so fast that I pulled the hamstring on my right leg.
Wow.
Pulled it enough that I bled from the middle of my thigh to the middle of my calf. It was pretty bad.
Wow.
And it brought me to a screeching halt in really bad pain. Limped out of there, drove home with some difficulty because my right leg is what I'm using to drive. And then got home and figured, well, I'm done for about 2 months while I try and heal, if not 6.
It's interesting, if I can comment. To put it in perspective, everyone, Dr. Trobiani on Celluvie ran so fast like he had never run before that your body, it was beyond the capability of your body to a certain.
Correct. The muscle didn't have enough time to stretch between contractions, and it tore. And if you run fast enough, that's something that can happen. I had never run that fast before. I'd never torn my hamstring before. So this is a first for me.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah.
were a first for me. So anyway, I figured I'm done. This is gonna take a long time to heal. I've dealt with hamstring tears in my practice, and I know they take a minimum of 2 months to heal.
Right.
To my surprise, this was Sunday. Monday, I was walking without a limp. And by Tuesday, I was able to run again.
Wow.
It was just crazy.
Unheard of. That's unheard of, pulling muscles and that injury that you have. It's unheard of.
With a tear, a pulled muscle maybe, but
Yeah.
a tear no. This was clearly a tear. I had bled too much for it not to be a tear. So I was amazed. I was absolutely amazed. Now I can tell you, going forward on me, and then I'm going to go back on my wife and forward on my wife.
Yeah.
Going forward on me, I just came back from Maui. We had spent 24 days in Maui. And I got there, was able, and I haven't been doing a lot of running because my schedule has been too busy. I again had not run in about 3 months, but I got there and was able to run. There's a boardwalk that goes about 1.5 miles and then a parking lot that's asphalt that I don't like to run on, but it's another 0.5 mile, so I'll do it. So it's about a 2-mile run from the place that we stay down to the end of that parking lot. And I was able to do that every day,
Wow.
every single day without any trouble. And I'm talking about running at probably a 7.5 to 8 minute mile pace. So I'm keeping up with all the young folks who are out there doing the running. There is no one my age that I've
Wow.
seen
Yeah.
in my way doing any running. So
Well,
people look at me like I'm a little crazy.
so
So
it allows you in this specific case and this physical activity, it allows you to perform closer to your peak physical capabilities.
very close,
Right.
very, very close.
And which is tremendous. And for the younger people who are, competing in, high school, junior high, college, professional sports. I mean, isn't that what we're all after mentally and physically?
Yeah, now I will say at age 20, you're probably not going to get a competitive edge from this because you're still making glutathione. But
Yeah.
certainly by the time you're 25 or 30, it's dropping enough that replacing it is going to help you gain that competitive edge back. So now my wife has had eczema for a while, and her eczema was extraordinary. I mean, she had this all over her arms, her torso, her legs. It was driving her nuts. She couldn't get anything. We've tried every cream that's manufactured. We've tried her on oral medications for eczema. She didn't want to go on any of the biological injections because of the side effects. And fortunately, we haven't had to because Celluvie, when she took it, stopped the problem. So she saw me, and I had taken it, and she saw what it did for my my injury, and so she wanted to take it because she wanted to improve her ability to run when she went to the club. She didn't think it would help her eczema, but after about 10 days on this, she said, I'm not itching anymore.
Oh,
And
wow.
I looked at her and I said, and your rash is going away. Uh, so she dropped it down to 2 scoops a day, and then she dropped it to 1 scoop a day, and the itching came back and the rash came back. And so
Oh,
she
wow.
went back to 3 scoops a day. And about that time, I had a conversation with Robert, who created this. And he said, yeah, if, if you take 1 scoop a day, if all you're doing is trying to maintain your health, but if you're older, you probably need to take more because you're not making enough glutathione. Uh, if you have a health challenge, you probably need to take more. So you titrate the dose to what you need, and you can tell the difference when you decrease. And I certainly did. When I went from 3 scoops a day to 2 scoops a day, I became more tired. What I noted, in addition to recovering faster, in addition to gaining a greater speed and athletic performance, was that I had an increase in clarity of thinking. I had, it improved my memory.
Yeah.
I could remember anything after that.
Yeah.
I had a photographic memory when I was in my 20s. I'd say that memory is every bit as good as it was then now.
Wow.
It had been declining, and it's
Wow.
back.
That's amazing. So cell health, your body,
Yes.
people looking at us as we're doing this interview as our eyes, our skin. The skin's the biggest organ in your body. It replicates. Your cells are dying and cells are replicating. You're either replicating healthy cells or unhealthy cells. Celluvie helps create healthy cells. Correct?
That's absolutely correct. Because cellular function is the basis of all organ function, and organ function is basically what keeps us
Right.
functional
Right.
as people, as human beings. So you'll talk to anyone over the age of 50, and they'll begin telling you about organ systems that are beginning to decline.
Right.
Well, those organ systems are declining because the cells within those organs are not
Right.
functioning properly. If you can improve the cellular function, you'll improve the organ function. And that's the key here. So this is true of brain. It is true of muscle. It is true of skin. It is true of heart. It is true of lungs. It is true of every organ we have. And therefore, there really isn't a single person, particularly over the age of 40, that shouldn't be taking Celluvie. Now, in addition to my wife getting rid of her eczema, so I'm going to finish my story on her. She had gone down to 1 scoop a day. Everything came back. She decided, I'm not even going to do 2 scoops a day. I'm going to do 3 scoops a day. She went back to 3 scoops a day. And with that, the rash went away. Her itching went away. I can tell you now, she has no rash, none. She has no itching. As long as she's taking this stuff, she is doing really, really, really well. My office manager, when she heard about this, decided she would try it too, because she had 2 neck surgeries. She had 2 discs removed from her neck and fused. And she had a fusion done on both times. And she's had neck pain and headache ever since. And I said, well, give us a try, maybe it will help. On 3 scoops a day, she did really well. She dropped down to 2 scoops a day and continued to do okay. Now she's only 40, so probably enough. She dropped down to 1 scoop a day. Her headaches came back. Her neck pain came back. She went back to 2 scoops a day. Actually went up to 3 scoops a day. And she alternates now between 2 and 3 a day, depending on where she's at symptom-wise, which is exactly what you need to do. You titrate this according to need.
Yeah. 2 neck surgeries is such an incredible sensitive area, and to be able to get relief with 2 scoops of Celluvie.
Yeah, she had ongoing headache every hour of every day she was awake. She's headache free with no change, nothing else that was done.
Yeah.
It has also helped my migraine. I've had migraines since I was 21. Unfortunately, I like red wine, and red wine tends to trigger migraine. And so I would endure that if it happened. I can tell you, since I've started Celluvie, red wine or no red wine, I don't get a headache at all. So it's helped my migraine as well.
Well, that's interesting. I'll let people interpret that how they may. I'm not encouraging you to drink more wine, drink more and take more Celluvie, but if that happens, you won't get, hopefully the hangover.
A little red wine is actually healthy, and I don't drink more than 2 glasses an evening. And I only drink on weekends. I only have it on weekends. But red wine is high in resveratrol. Resveratrol is a very good antioxidant, and it's actually very good for you.
As we'll spend a few more minutes before we start to close up, and I just want to, your body, to go backtrack a little bit, everybody listening, you have great gifts. Whether it's Dr. Trobiani, his wife Janine, Stuart Finger, anybody, you're made up of cells, and Celluvie could potentially allow you to perform closest to your 100% of your mental and physical capabilities. And I think everybody's kind of wish or dream in life is to get the most out of themselves. Like when you were a child and you tried something that you never did, never thought you could do, and you did it and you were so happy. And it's nice to know that what you're doing is you're handing your conversation, Dr. Trobiani, is giving people the confidence to go, I can be better. I can do more. I could be capable of, but I need this fuel because every cell in my body, just go back to my University of Michigan study. A study in the University of Michigan says at least 2/3 of your bad health or sickness and disease is related to low levels of this molecule, glutathione.
Right. And I would emphasize to people that don't expect an immediate response. I mean, you'll see something within 10 days. You'll see an improvement within 10 days, but it's going to take time if you've had years of organ system decline. It's going to take time for that to reverse. So expect that this is not going to be something that's instantaneous. I was healthy when I tore my hamstring. So recovering from that in a healthy individual quickly is certainly possible. If you have some health challenges, things are going to be slower. They're going to take longer, but this will still help, and it's going to do more than you could possibly accomplish without it, because glutathione is just simply critical to cellular function.
Dr. Trobiani, it's always a pleasure having you, and these interviews are tremendous. We try to keep them short. You and I could go on for 2 hours, but we try to keep them short because attention spans are short, and we'll do more of these. We have something exciting, and we're not going to tell you here today, but you've been working on something, and without letting everybody know what it is, because this will air Thursday night, how excited are you about what you've been up to with CTFO and one of our products in the near future?
I understand what you're saying, and I am very excited about that because I deal with pain that is significant, pain that is life-altering, pain that will stop people in their tracks and keep them from being able to live their lives. And we're talking about something that will address that kind of pain, if I'm reading you correctly.
Yeah. Everybody stay tuned. We'll be in the short term, short near future, we'll be looking at something else which will help everybody. Dr. Trobiani, it's a pleasure. NorthstarPainCare.com is Dr. Trobiani's website. We appreciate him. He's also a member of the Scientific Advisory Board at CTFO, of which we are all the beneficiary of your great knowledge. So thank you very much. And I look forward to talking to you for our next interview.
Thank you, David. I look forward to that as well.
Great. Bye-bye.